The pandemic had New York City's real estate market reeling for over a year, but things are changing in the rentals and sales markets. Joining us now is economist at StreetEasy, Nancy Wu. She's here to discuss what you can expect if you are making a move. And what a year, almost a year and a half, Nancy. Have you just been, I don't know, type of a whiplash watching the markets?
It's been a really exciting time to be an economist this past year in New York City, especially in seeing everyone moving in and out of the city and rents just changing like crazy. Right now, we are at a point where rents have been beginning to tick up for the first time since the entire pandemic.
So let's say if someone is looking to rent a place in New York City, let's get some examples of a couple of the boroughs. What will they find?
So we are seeing that median asking rents have risen across New York City from April to May. So in Manhattan, we saw that the median asking rent was up $60. In Brooklyn, it was up $50. And in Queens, rents rose $50 as well from April to May. But even though the rebound has certainly begun, it is still going to be a while before rents return to pre-pandemic levels because rents just dropped so much since the pandemic. And even though they're slowly ticking back up now, there will still be good deals for months to come.
And what about that citywide $2,500?
Citywide, the median asking rent has remained at $2,500 for the past 6 months.
Okay.
And that's been the lowest on StreetEasy record.
All right. So if you're looking in the boroughs, where can you find the most bang for your buck? Because I think people are really, they're open-minded. I mean, you know, somebody might say, I only want to live on Staten Island, or just, you know, dollars are so different, as you're telling us. So where can people find the best bang for their buck?
Ultimately, it's a personal choice, but right now there are great deals still across the city. We are seeing that last year there were fears of an urban exodus of people moving out of the city. And now people are returning to the city because there's great deals in Manhattan, there's great deals in Brooklyn and Queens, and people are coming back as remote work ends and people go back to the offices. We are seeing that there is plenty of inventory to go around still, despite people moving. There are still a lot of great deals on the market and a lot of choices for renters out there.
That's what I was going to touch on when you say a lot of inventory. I mean, you're talking about the, you know, big penthouse down to the studio, and that's encouraging because people are struggling. You know, as you said, some are can only afford so much.
Exactly. Now with Manhattan rents being down far more than it was 10 years ago, lots of people who were priced out of Manhattan in the past few years can now find an apartment in Manhattan still. But keeping in mind that right now we are seeing rents starting their slow ascend again. So these deals are going to go quickly this summer, but there's still plenty of options out there on the market.
Let's go back to Brooklyn and people going into the boroughs out of Manhattan. What can you expect specifically in Brooklyn? What should renters know?
So in Brooklyn, we're seeing that concessions, or the 1 or 2 months of free rent, are becoming harder to find. So the share of rentals with a concession in Brooklyn reached a record high of 26% back in January this year, but that has quickly begun to change. In May, only 22% of rentals were advertising a concession. So these deals are going quickly.
All right, from Brooklyn to Queens, give us an idea of what people can find in Queens if they're looking to rent.
So we are seeing that Queens rents are still over 10% lower than they were before the pandemic. However, rental discounts in Queens are becoming harder to find. We're seeing that just 10.6% of rentals in Queens were discounted by a landlord or an agent in May, and that's the lowest share of discounts since July 2018.
And you have the rentals available, more than 7,000 rentals available?
Queens inventory is staying extremely elevated right now compared to Manhattan and Brooklyn. So in May, there were almost 7,200 rentals available in Queens. And that's as high as it was last summer in the midst of the pandemic.
People who are trying to sell their homes. And you talked at the beginning about, you know, there was this mass exodus, and a lot of people did move out of all 5 boroughs into parts of Westchester, New Jersey, Connecticut. And I know some of that has changed. So, talking in the city, trying to sell their homes, what are they coming up against, or is it easy to sell a home?
It is a seller's market and a buyer's market, depending on where you're looking. Right now, New York City homes are selling faster, and spring home shopping season is returning. So, to go into more detail about that, New York City homes coming off the market have sold faster in May than any other month this year. The average New York City home stayed on the market for 56 days on the market in May, and that's down from 68 days in April and a huge drop from 116 days in January.
Our home
Inventory,
Go ahead.
inventory has also started to normalize a bit after plummeting last summer. So we are seeing that there were record high sales in the fall, and now we're seeing similar homes being sold as last seen during our typical home shopping season in spring 2019.
And are you talking about a mix of different things, people owning apartments in buildings or condos or townhouses, as we know in a lot of parts of the city, and homes, freestanding homes? Differences
We're
among
seeing
that?
sales across different types of homes. So condos, co-ops, townhomes, there's been a busy sales market across different types of inventory.
What are you looking forward to? How do you see, if you might, as we go through the end of the year? What do you think?
I'm looking forward to the city becoming vibrant again with everyone returning. I am still looking constantly at good deals because they are going quickly on the rental side. And I'm excited to see the sales market continue to be busy as more and more homes come off the market.
Thank you so much. Nancy Wu, economist at StreetEasy.